Hey, what's going on, guys? So today I want to talk a little bit about the brain-body connection. I realize that I've kind of been saying that a lot in my post and on things on Instagram, and I kind of came to the realization that maybe a lot of you don't realize like what it means and the importance of it. So I wanted to do a segment on me kind of just highlighting it and what I mean exactly when I say brain-body connection, because I think for me this is like the biggest piece to the puzzle. Obviously there's zillions of pieces, and everyone's pieces are going to look a little bit differently depending on what you as an individual need to work on. But when I talk brain-body connection, I'm literally talking the connection from what the brain is telling the body and what the body is telling the brain, and how we can, as pitchers or even as athletes, get these things in sync, right? Because that's the overall goal, is to have like the sensory input into the brain and then have the identification process of like, okay, this is what I want to do, this is how I want to move, and then the brain signaling to the body like, hey, this is what we're going for, and then the body having that feedback of, okay, I got you, like let's move this way now, especially when we're talking like the delivery, right? Because I've talked about in the past how I have kind of like a few steps in order to improve like pitching delivery and optimize our delivery, optimize our mechanics. And one of those steps is obviously the identification process of, okay, where are my deficiencies at? What do I need to do? How do I get better? How do I command the ball better? How do I throw harder? All of these other pieces. And once we identify that, it's about, then making that connection of like, okay, this is the thing that I need to do. I need to be mindful of it, and what I mean by that is like associate our brain into the pattern of, okay, that's how I visualize me moving, this is what I want to do, and then the body's part is feeling for that. And I know it's tough, and I want to be really clear here, because I talk a lot about being an athlete and not necessarily like always constantly feeling for your body. What I'm talking about right now is like when we're trying to do our delivery work, right? When we're doing our dry throws, when we're trying to optimize, because the goal is we have set aside a time to have that optimization time of like, okay, it's our work time, right? In a practice setting, in a dry drill setting, or if you're taking the summer off, like that's when you work on it. But as soon as the lights come on and it's competition time, like we need to be able to clear the mechanism, clear all of that feelings out, right? And then it's just go and compete. So again, going back to the goal, is we have the set aside time for establishing our work. And then we make all the adjustments, and we try to optimize as much as we can. And then the goal is to get to a point where everything that we're working on becomes just motion memory, right? That's why I'm so like serious when it comes to that brain-body connection, because like we need to feel for we need to visualize, identify what we're going after. Say for an example, like you have a dragging arm, right? Like you're getting into inefficient positions because your arm is just late, right? So now the goal is like, okay, I need to make sure that my hand is up on time, as I'm approaching front foot strike. I just need to make sure. So again, this is going to be a process done by that visualization of, maybe it's film that you're visualizing, okay, that's what it looks like. Now the body needs to be like, okay, that's what I feel. And just making that connection to hopefully in turn all of that sensory input to our brain, we go, okay, that's the pattern that we want, right? Presetting certain positions to optimize it, that's the pattern we want. And now you just hammer intentional repetitions out, and you just teach the brain like, hey, this is what we're doing. And then the brain kind of signals to the body again, hey, this is what we're doing. All right, this is the position we're going after. That's the position that we want to be in. That's the movement that we want. And then round it all out, that becomes motion memory. So then when you do get on the mound and the lights are on and it's competition time, you don't have to sit there and think about, okay, arm out on time, and here we go down the slope, because then you take away natural athleticism, right? We hammer so many intentional repetitions throughout the process that it just becomes motion memory, man, and it's just there. Because otherwise, what are we left with, right? We're left with, you know, again, individual dependent. There's a lot of people that necessarily don't need any like mechanical work or delivery work, but for those of you guys who do and want to optimize, you know, it becomes that point in where we need to be super intentional with the repetitions that we are doing, because you're constantly signaling to the brain, hey, this is the way I want to move. And that's how bad habits can creep up into your, you know, your max intent throw or whatever it is. So there's certain protocols, but that's what I wanted to talk about, that brain-body connection, because, you know, there's a big disassociation with it. I think right now is, me personally in my career, I've had moments, I say moments, but definitely whatever word is longer than moments, where they were totally disconnected, and I wasn't establishing, I wasn't identifying like the right way, and what my brain wanted to do, like my body wasn't, and what my body was doing, like my brain didn't want to do. So just a whole entire mess. So I hope that makes sense as far as the brain-body connection. And if you ever want help on, you know, identifying a process, I have consultation services, and I also have a pitching mechanics optimization service that I encourage you guys to check out if you are someone that has, you know, pretty big goals to play at the next level, but want to optimize and make sure that you're doing everything that you possibly can be doing to put yourself in that position of, you know, success and moving on in this development. All right, guys, much love. Till next time. Talk to you later.